Hello, I'm Mary Soderstrom, and I want to tell you a story that began either 20,000 years ago at the end of the Ice Age or in June of 2017 when I went for a trip around Quebec's Gaspé Peninsula. Highway 132 is a major road in the scenic region, and on a late spring day we drove it. There was not a cloud in the sky nor sign of bad weather anywhere. Nevertheless, along this 60-kilometer stretch where warnings are posted about falling rocks, the waves were breaking on the concrete riprap barriers, and spray was splashing across the road in places. I got to thinking about climate change and what will happen to this road as sea level rises. There followed a few years of research, interviews, and visiting places which resulted in Against the Seas, Saving Civilizations from Rising Waters. One of the things I discovered, much to my surprise, is that rising sea levels are nothing new. They've been with us since the end of the last ice age. There's evidence of this in many places. One of the most amazing is the story of Doggerland, a large area between the British Isles and Denmark, north of the Netherlands and northern Germany. Fisher folk have been bringing up artifacts for some time that bear witness to a pretty sophisticated hunter-gatherer society that's now submerged. Recent explorations of the seafloor by petroleum companies have also mapped rivers, lakes, and higher ground where people lived for several thousand years. Then there are those stories of floods, those of Noah, Gilgamesh, and others, that now appear to have their basis in long ago incursions of seawater from the Mediterranean across the Turkish Straits and into the Black Sea. What is different now is the pace of the rising seas. A good example is found at Fortress Louisbourg in Nova Scotia. When it was reconstructed in the 1960s, mooring rings were found on the seawall, giving a benchmark of the high tide level. Between 1754 and 1992, it rose by 90 centimeters, or an average of a third of a centimeter per year over 250 years. In the next 75 years, however, projections say it will rise by a meter, or more than 4 times as fast. Against the Sea tells a story of what has been done in the face of rising waters over time and what can be done. It looks at 5 areas in particular: the St. Lawrence Estuary, the Salish Sea on the Pacific coast of North America, Shanghai, which has opted for armoring the shoreline, the Sundarbans in Bangladesh, and Jakarta, the capital of Indonesia, which is slated to be replaced by another city away from rising waters. What people have done and can do boils down to 3 things: resist, reconcile and accommodate, and retreat and migrate. The Dutch with their sluices and dikes have been resisting for more than 1,000 years. In the Sundarbans, people have learned to accommodate to a certain amount of flooding, although rising sea levels are making this harder and harder to do. But over the long haul, what people have been forced to do is retreat strategically. In the future, this is likely to be more and more necessary. Here's an example: moving a house from the seaward side of Highway 132 to higher ground. Some folks who have thought deeply about climate change have good things to say about what Against the Sea proposes. I'm delighted that Maud Barlow calls it an incredible read, while T.C. Boyle says I write with the fluidity of a novelist, weaving history, hydrology, and climate science into compact narratives. And Wayne Grady adds that I set out in clear, detailed terms what has been done, not enough, and more importantly, what can be done, surprisingly a lot, to slow down the juggernaut of global warming. So what's it going to be? How will the story end? Will the promise of a safe future symbolized by the rainbow be fulfilled? Against the Seas offers hope and a game plan. Get your copy today.